Hi, boys and girls. Today I'm going to read one of my favorite stories. It's been around a long time because my mother used to read this story to me when I was a little girl a couple of years ago. I wish. Anyway, yeah, Cinderella starts with the letter C, but it's pronounced like the letter S. Cinderella. Ready? Before I start reading, I want to tell you that this book was retold by Susanna Davidson and illustrated by Lorena Alvarez. This book has been written and illustrated by many people because it was published a long time ago and it's very popular. Now remember this, not all stepmothers are wicked, but dear, oh dear, Cinderella's was very, very bad. From morning till night, she made Cinderella cook and carry, clean and scrub. Cinderella even had to look after her horrible stepsisters. Every day, her stepmother would screech, "Hurry up, you wretched girl! I want my lunch, and I want it now." At night, poor Cinderella had to sleep on the floor by the fire among the cinders and ashes. They weren't nice to her, were they? Then one morning, an invitation arrived. His Royal Highness, Prince Charming, invites the ladies of the house into his royal ball. "Of course Cinderella can't go," sneered her stepmother. "She's just a servant." On the night of the ball, Cinderella stood alone in the kitchen, tears sliding down her cheeks. "I want to go to the ball," she wept. "And so you shall," said a musical voice. "Don't be afraid. I'm your fairy godmother." "Really, truly?" gasped Cinderella. "You have my fairy promise," said her godmother. "But first, I need a pumpkin." Cinderella ran to the garden and picked the biggest, plumpest pumpkin she could find. The fairy tapped it with her wand, and the pumpkin rose up, growing bigger and rounder. Then bang! A golden coach to whisk you to the ball, smiled the fairy godmother. Spell followed magical spell. 6 white mice became 6 proud horses. Oh my goodness, tossing their silky manes. A fat rat turned into a coachman. 6 lizards were transformed into footmen, dressed in glittering green. Last of all came a ball gown, golden yellow and laced with flowers. "Oh, thank you," said Cinderella. On her feet were a pair of glass slippers, the prettiest she had ever seen. "Just remember," said her godmother, "you must leave before the clock strikes midnight, 12 o'clock. For then my magic will start to fade. At the royal palace, Cinderella swept into a splendid ballroom. "Will you dance with me?" asked the prince. Now it's getting exciting. As they twirled and spun, a whisper followed around the room. "Who is that beautiful girl?" "She must be a princess," moaned Cinderella's stepsister, "but I'm sure the prince would much rather dance with me." What do you think? Cinderella wished the dance could last forever, but all too soon the clock struck midnight. "I must go," she cried, as she dashed down the palace steps, her dress turned back to rags. Her carriage was a pumpkin. Her coachman was a rat. The prince ran after her. All that was left was a glass slipper sparkling on the steps. Cinderella ran home beneath the starry sky. She kept her adventure a secret, of course. And that night she slept with a big smile on her face. The prince longed to find the mystery girl who had danced herself into his dreams. He searched the land with the glass slipper, declaring, "I'll marry the girl who fits this shoe." At last he came to Cinderella's home. "It will fit me," screeched her stepsister, snatching the shoe. They both squeezed and squashed and squirmed, then screamed. No matter what they did, they couldn't get the shoe to fit. Do you know why? "May I try it on?" cried Cinderella, coming quietly into the room. "No," snapped her stepmother. But it was too late. Cinderella had put the shoe on, and it was a perfect fit. The room sparkled with stars. Cinderella's ragged clothes turned to gold. She was dressed in her ball gown once more. Her stepmother looked aghast. "At last," cried the prince, "I found you." They were married the very next day. Everyone was invited to the wedding, the stepmother and her horrible daughters. Cinderella had such a kind heart. She forgave her family, and she and her prince lived happily ever after. The end. If you enjoyed Storytime with Aunt Alice today, please share this with your family and friends and ask them to subscribe so that I can continue to do what I love, and that's tell stories to you.